Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. The South African government and its officials claim that many Nigerians living in South Africa are drug dealers and human traffickers. There are many who insist that this is a tacit approval of the attack on foreigners going on in that country. However, there are question marks over the blanket categorization of Nigerians as lawbreakers. There are thousands of highly sought-after professionals among the more than 27,000 Nigerians living in South Africa. So many others have been very successful running small and medium-scale enterprises. Where then is all the bile coming from? Are the majority black South African xenophobes merely victims of apartheid-era labor laws? How much stake do they have in the coal, gold, and diamond mines? For a wider conversation on this, we're now being joined here by Funsho Ademoye, a Nigerian business consultant who is married to a South African and who has lived and worked in South Africa for more than 20 years. Funsho Ademoye, welcome to the program, the Morning Show.
Welcome.
Now, I mean, you have lived in South Africa for 20 years. You are married to a South African. Now, really, is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of South Africa correct to say that the victims in this wave of xenophobic attacks that we always witness, that they are drug dealers, they are human traffickers, in other words, you know, they are criminals. And, you know, what is this profiling? What is responsible for this profiling of Nigerians as criminals in South Africa?
Yes, thank you. What I can say in that area is this. When you categorize all Nigerians as a drug dealer or whatever, the minister forgot that the criminals, you call Nigerian criminals in South Africa are few. The professionals are more.
So there are actually Nigerian criminals in South Africa?
Of course, we cannot deny that. Yes, some are selling drugs as he alleged, or as he accused us that we are drug dealers, that Nigerians are drug, but it's only few. The professionals there are more than those who call criminals there. Because go to their the hospitals, go to their universities. Even in a small-scale area, Nigerians are doing well there. So those are the majority, but the one that the government are, propagating more is the little that are doing the drug dealings, which are few. They are minority there. But those who are doing well, you will never see the government praising them. That is where I faulted South African government.
But even speaking of people being criminals, whether they're Nigerian, whether they're from any other African country, whether they're even South African, when does that ever subject someone to xenophobic attacks that can also then be justified by a very high-ranking member of government? Doesn't that take us back to a serious problem surrounding the ignorance that a lot of South Africans are clearly dwelling in?
Okay. When you talk about a xenophobic attack in South Africa, don't forget one thing there. These South African we are talking about, they just got their maybe independence about 25 years ago. They still have that spirit of violence in them. If you see, because, okay, I can remember, my son is 25 years old now, 1994, and that is when South Africa got independence. So my son, I see him as a boy, we still remember what happened 25 years ago. So all this you are telling them, that we are the one that supported you, we gave you money, we gave you this during apartheid. The people causing the crisis, causing the violence in South Africa, doesn't know this. They are still young. They were not yet born as at the time that Nigerians are supporting them during the apartheid. So in this area, I also fought the South African government there. They need to educate the young ones who are causing the problem in the streets of South Africa. They still need to orientate them that this is what this country did for you during the apartheid. This is what this country supported you during the apartheid. But the young ones who are causing problems in the street, they don't have this orientation, they don't have this education. So that is why you see all this criminality in South Africans attacking foreigners, not only Nigerians. They do attack foreigners. And what causes it is envy. That's what I can say.
Well, yes, envy. But, you know, you have lived in South Africa for 20 years. You have a son who is 25 years old,
Yes.
and you are a business consultant there.
Exactly.
One of the issues is that, look, Nigerians snatch South African women. That there is a competition.
example.
That there is a competition at that level, and you are probably guilty as charged. They also say that Nigerians, also take their businesses. Living and working in South Africa and married to a South African, do you feel a sense of danger, or you are not living in any of these areas where there are issues?
Let me say I am not living in the areas where there are these issues. Yeah, I have it there for the past 20 years. I got married there. I'm doing business there. In the area where they are alleging us or accusing us that we are taking their wives, that we are taking their jobs. Let me come to the area of taking their wives.
Or women generally.
Or women generally. A typical Nigeria is very cultured. Very cultured. You know how we treat our women here. They have different culture in South Africa. So when we get there, when their women see the way we relate with them, the way we communicate with them, the way our characters are different from their own men, obviously they are human, they will come closer. They will see something different in us. So in that case, South African men are jealous that you guys are snatching our women from us, because what we do differently from the way they do their own. In the area of jobs as well.
No, before you talk about just this strategy of snatching women, do you want to give me an insight into how to do it so that when I go to South Africa, I may be tempted to...
Okay. For instance...
I mean, talking seriously, what is the difference? What's the difference? How does it work out?
Okay. There are so many different, like I said earlier, the way we are so cultural, the way we treat our women here in Nigeria, so the way we do to them, there, over there. You can see so many crimes there in South Africa where a man will beat a woman, raped, even slaughter, South African get hunger easily, very hunger, easily. So when they see that, okay, now again, in Nigeria here, we have full housewife, where we practice full housewife. There's nothing like that in South Africa. Women work. They go to work. They even work more than their men. So when we now marry them, when we are now getting, success, we can say, okay, we will now remember how we are cultured back home. That maybe don't work anymore. Stay at home, look after the children. You see, but South African women have not seen that. I should stay at home, look after the children, give me a nice car key, put money for groceries for me. But the background she was coming from was not like that. So when their men saw that, they start getting jealous. So in the area of women, it is like that.
About jobs, you were going to talk
And
about
the jobs as well. We are not taking their jobs. I will tell you in the area of jobs is this. Like myself, I'm the second generation migrant to South Africa. We have first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and the present generation. The first generation were 1994s. We are professionals, we are doctors, teachers, pharmacists, nurses, who first went there after their independence. 1994 to 1996, first generation. 96 to 99, which I belong to, 1999, second generation. 99 to 2003, third generation. Look at that time, first generation. South African are still baby that time at 1994, where they lack some professionals worked there, where Nigerians went there to explore. There are a lot of medical doctors there, teachers, they are there. So now it's 2019. They have now seen that, no, guys, it's enough for you to go back home. Fine, you are our medical doctors that time. Our own children who have graduated, they need to work. They need to get a job. So that's the area I see where they are accusing that we are taking their jobs. And in the area of non-professional, like I'm into infrastructure maintenance there now. Now when I'm giving a tender to do any maintenance on infrastructure, South African has already got their standard rate of labor there, whereby this is the amount per hour. But if I'm giving that tender, then foreigners will come to me like Zimbabweans, Malawians, Mozambicans. They'll say, hey, boss, Me, I will charge you 3 rand per hour. But South Africa have got a standard rate in their labor work. If foreigners will come to me, I'll give you a cheaper rate. What will I go for? I will go for the cheaper one. Then the South African will get annoyed that, no, that's supposed to be our job. You are giving it to Mozambicans. You are giving it to Zimbabweans because they are giving at a cheap rate. That's where the attack starts as well. So that's where the start that foreigners are taking their jobs.
But maybe they need to look a little bit closer to home, because maybe there's more of a problem between the divide between white South Africans and black South Africans than there is between black South Africans and their fellow Africans. I say this because there needs to be a serious shift in the economic power in the country. White South Africans still have control over about 85% of the country's resources, which means the black South Africans are disempowered in their land. Why is this a problem that is really not being addressed, and what can be done to address this problem?
Okay. When it comes to that area, there was a time after the apartheid, South Africa introduced what we call a BEE.
BBE initiative.
Yes, Black Economic Empowerment. They introduced it and launched it for a certain ratios, which is the Africans. It's the Africans, not South Africans, black, Africans, Indian, Chinese, and they're colored. There is a tribe called colored there, which we call Afcast here. So they gave
which is
those,
also politically incorrect.
Yeah, exactly. So that is area that we have permanent residents there, we benefited under Africans, you see. So what they're trying to do is that, okay, we've suffered under the white colony too much. They've taken all our economy, they've enjoyed. So it is now time for we blacks to enjoy our country. They introduced that BEE, Black Economic Empowerment. That is where a person like me benefited from, because I'm married there and I've got permanent residence, you see. So in that case, they are trying to subvert whites and face on blacks. So when Nigerians are now, when South Africans are now attacking Nigerians or foreigners, well, you forgot, South Africans forgot that you have already categorized.
Funsho Ademoye, maybe you hold your thoughts there. Okay. We take a short break, and then when we return, you can continue. All right. We'll take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. You're still watching The Morning Show here on the Arise News channel, and we have with us in our Lagos studio Funsho Ademoye, a Nigerian business consultant who is married to a South African and who has lived in South Africa for more than 20 years. And we've been discussing with him a number of issues, including what we were talking about, the BEE, which was meant for Africans, but which now, South Africans think that is strictly meant for them. So if you may continue with what you were saying.
Thank you. Yeah, as I was saying, the BEE was meant for African, Indian, Chinese, and colored. I think the South African government still need to educate their people. That don't forget, those foreigners who have been here after 1994, who are now either citizens of God, they're permanent residents, they are also part of the BEE. So they need to do that to their people so that they will stop attacking foreigners, because we are all Africans. Because what you launch are putting foreigners who have been there, who got permanent residence, to be part of that benefit. So that is the area that the South African government needs to educate their people on, so that they will stop all this attacking on foreigners.
Yeah, but the Nigerians that are in South Africa, I don't know for how long you've been visiting home. What is the sense in terms of how the Nigerian government has responded to this latest wave of attacks? And then, of course, we're told that there is an aircraft on the ground provided by Air Peace for Nigerians who would like to return home. The High Commission tells us that about 400 persons have already signed up to return home, to be evacuated. But some other people have said, Nigerians in South Africa, they love South Africa so much, they are not likely to come back home. Maybe they will just come for a while and they will go back. But what do you think?
Yes, good. Like I said, people like first, second, third generation, if you ask them to come back home, they're going to tell you, no, we are not going back home.
Oh, someone like you,
Someone like
you
me,
will not be evacuated.
I can't be
You're already
evacuated,
rooted there.
Yeah, no, my family is there. My families are there. Though I'm on and off South African, Nigeria, South Africa, Nigeria. I've been here for 6 weeks now.
Okay.
So, you say, so first, second, third generation would not listen to Nigerian government that they should come back home because those are the first set of professionals. But the present generations, probably those are the ones that went to our high commission or consulates to register their names that they want to come back home. So people like us who are benefited there, and we will not want to come back home. So that is it. Then the reaction of Nigerian government over how they should be very, I would suggest that Nigerian government should be very careful, you know, in their measures they want to give to South Africa, you know, in the area of maybe, because I'm listening to the news more often that when they are saying that Nigerians are reacting. Don't forget, if there is action, there's always a reaction. You acted, they have to react. How do we act? By accusing us. You are taking our wives, you are taking our women, you are taking our jobs. So they see our action, then they are now reacting. So we should not see because they are reacting, we quickly take a quick decision in just a temporary situation. That's how I say it. To me, it's a temporary situation that both countries can manage.
Temporary, but these attacks aren't new, are they? These are attacks that have been going on for a very long period of time, probably since apartheid ended.
The one that I witnessed most was the one in 2008. Yes, that started in KwaZulu-Natal. I witnessed that one. Then all other ones is not only Nigerian. There are times they're attacking Ethiopians. There are times they're attacking Pakistans. There are sometimes they're attacking the Sudanese. That they are taking their talk shop, talk shop like all these small supermarkets in the township, because it's been owned by Ethiopian and Sudanese. The South African went on rapid in Soweto one day that no, these people are taking, we are supposed to want to be selling all these things. So Nigerian government should take what I can say that like a demographic intelligence there. Calm down, don't rush, because when you take a quick decision that, no, enough is enough, don't forget, these two countries, we can say both countries are giants of Africa. Don't let us deceive ourselves, because if you go to South Africa, the infrastructure that are there, Nigeria is still crawling behind them, you see. So, and there are a lot of things both countries can benefit from each other. So they must be very calm down, very careful before taking any measure that will fight against South Africans there. You see, because we are still there. And I don't see a situation whereby we'll get there at the airport, they say, hey, we saw you on TV, you are talking this. You are not going to enter our country anymore. No, let the Nigerian government be very careful in their decision making.
Okay. But how do you see it affecting the South African economy, or the latest wave of xenophobic attacks?
Yeah, of course it's going to affect them. We can say, it's like, I used to tell people that when Nigerian cough, other African will catch cold. You see, you understand that when Nigerian cough, other African countries will catch cold. You can see when Nigeria said enough is enough, other Africans started supporting. Like this World Economic Summit that's supposed to go on in Cape Town. Zambia withdraw, Rwanda, DRC.
They all withdrew before Nigeria, though.
You see, it means that if we don't cop this thing, it might come to our nationals, to our citizens there living in South Africa. So I would say I do support that measure that other African countries are taking. Because to be honest with you, South Africans, inside them, they have that violent spirit. And it's not their fault. I would say they just graduated from apartheid. They are just 25 years old.
When you say, South Africans have, a problem of anger management, you are also characterizing them. You are profiling them. And we know that South Africa is a rainbow nation, ethnically, racially. But what we've been seeing is black on black violence, and what we have called xenophobia. What's the attitude of the white South African? Do you have a sense that, do you see the white South African also thinking, look, these foreigners don't belong here, that this is a country for, just autochthonous and, white South Africans?
Yeah. I've been there for more than 20 years, and what I can say there is that the white doesn't have a problem with Nigerians. They don't have a problem with us. In fact, some whites prefer to do business with Nigerians rather than their black fellow people, because there's still this hatred and there's a line, this gap between the blacks and whites in South Africa. Like somebody used to say in South Africa that it is only Nigerian that can knock onto a white man's door without appointment. No black South African can do that.
Really?
I'm telling you.
There's still that serious division.
I'm telling you, there's still that serious division. A white man will tell you it is only a Nigerian man that can knock on my door without appointment. South African black cannot do that. So they love to do business with us. I mean, they are whites there. They love to do business with the foreigners there. You know, we don't have problem with their whites. We don't have problem. I do business with them there. I consult with them. So I do a lot of things with them. So they don't have problem with us, the whites there.
Yeah, but you see, foreigners have been accused of violence, of criminality. We've also seen images, of Nigerians in South Africa carrying weapons, saying they will fight back. The determination that I've seen in some of the, videos, if you were a South African, won't you feel, who are these people? Why do they think they must contest our space with us?
Okay, good. I saw that video too. And the video they sent to me was in Sunnyside, Pretoria, where I'm very conversant with. I go there almost every week. Those areas is full of foreigners, not only Nigerians. Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Mozambican, Ghanaians. They call it Sunnyside in Pretoria. So those are the video. That's one of the videos that you saw. Whereby I saw it when there's the Igbo people there. They say, come, we'll teach you a lesson. Come, we'll finish you. Come, one by one. The South African themselves knows that this area is no good area for foreigners. If you watch that video.
For foreigners or for South Africans?
No, South Africans know that this area, we've left this area for foreigners.
Okay.
You see, that is why in that video, you didn't see any South African coming closer to them.
So foreigners have carved out colonies in South Africa?
That South Africa is full of 90% of people living there are foreigners in Sunnyside, Pretoria. 90%. That is where I was first lived in 1999. I lived there in 1999.
The deputy police chief said, I mean, it's only in South Africa that you will have foreigners taking about 60% of the jobs, carving out territories in another man's country. If you were a South African, would you be comfortable with that?
I may not be comfortable, but I believe that their government still have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. They were angry because they said we call them lazy. They say, you say we are lazy. We are lazy. South Africans are not lazy, to be honest with you. I still put the blame on their government. The government still needs to do a lot of things to orientate, to educate their people on a small-scale business. But, again, South Africans are too comfortable. Honestly, too comfortable in their zone.
How?
Good. I could give you an example. When I was staying in Sunnyside in year 2000, Sunnyside, Pretoria, there's a garage nearby my building. They call filling station garage there. So then I was driving a Toyota Corolla of that time. After 3 years, I went back to that area. I went there with a VW Jetta. The guy spotted me, the petrol attendants who knew me when I was driving Corolla. He said, hey, my brother, you buy this guy again? I said, but I'm working. He's been there. I met him there. You see. Then in 2014, I just went there to go and put petrol again.
I really wish we could take the second story, but we have run out of time on this discussion. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This has been very interesting. From women and jobs to, what's that guy again? VW Jetta.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Funsho Ademoye.